Now I would like to ask Mrs. Gail Edmondson, Editorial Director of Science Business, to take my place as a chair, please.
Thank you very much. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Gail Edmondson. I'm Editorial Director of Science Business, which is a media group and network of research universities based in Brussels. I liked the image of Commissioner Moedas, who referred to the SET Plan as coming of age. I feel like we're at a graduation today. It's a pleasure to be here for this conference. I can't believe it's the 7th conference. We ourselves at Science Business have held 9 energy symposia in the last 3 years. And there is a lot to talk about. I'd like to now ask the panel to come up towards an integrated roadmap and to join me here on the podium. Thank you. I think you can sit where you want.
Sorry for being not this morning. You raised the more the same questions you have spread.
Yes.
That's the first one. We'll go through it.
In general, yes. So, as we've heard already this morning, the energy sector moves slowly. Despite this inertia, and despite the progress which Dominique Ristori has mentioned, we need to pick up the pace of change. We've lost some time going up the learning curve. Think about the CCS demos. Think about first-generation biofuels. We're struggling with the cost of the transition and the complexity of it. Above all, I think we agree that the next set of choices, must be the right ones. The World Energy Council warned on the 24th of November that decisions investors make today in the energy sector will make or break the sustainability of our energy systems in the coming years. Some $48 billion needs to be invested in the energy sector to make the energy transition. It needs to be spent well. This panel, Toward an Integrated Roadmap, is about the lessons learned over the past years and the way forward. It's about setting priorities for getting the biggest reductions in greenhouse gases as quickly as possible. And it's about speeding innovation. It's about dealing with complexity and, above all, accelerating the pace towards a sustainable, affordable, and secure energy system. We have an impressively large panel for this discussion. All of these participants in the panel are in the hot seat. They are responsible for making sure we hit our 2030 and 2050 goals. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce them. I will start on my left immediately. We have Bob Hanna, who hails from Ireland, Chief Technological Advisor for the Department of Communications, Energy, and Natural Resources. Next to him, Geog Menzen. Hello, Georg. Head of the Division of Energy Research at the German Ministry for Economics and Energy. Next up is Mairie C. Donnelly, Director for Renewable Sources, Research and Innovation, Energy Efficiency, one of the longer titles in the Commission, at DG Energy. And welcome to Gunta Ŝlihta, Vice Director of the Institute for Physical Energetics in Latvia. I want to know what physical energetics is. I will ask her later. Giovanni Santi, Director for the Institute of Energy and Transport at the JRC, and András Siegler, Director of Energy at DG Research and Innovation. That was a long one. Okay. As you all know, the SET Plan was launched in 2010 and is now in the process of being updated. I'd like to start by asking the member state panelists to give us their assessment of the first phase of the SET Plan, and I'd like to begin with Germany. Georg, can you tell us what are the lessons learned from the German perspective about the SET Plan so far?
Thank you, Gail. So you give me the privilege to start with the discussion here. Although I was the latest who arrived to Rome, just came before starting this session. So allow me to give some general remarks. If I look around the room here, I have the feeling that this is the largest event, the largest conference. Bob agreed to that. And so I wanted to congratulate our Italian colleagues and all the people who has worked on this, and thank you so much for organizing the conference. I think it will be a great event which we have in Rome these 2 days. Lessons learned. So we have learned a lot in the last 7 or 8 years of SET Plan. So we know much more about the national programs of our colleagues from the member states. We have the industrial initiatives. But the most important lesson we have to learn, or we have learned, it has already mentioned that energy is a global problem. Climate is a global problem. We have, say, 7,000 million people on the earth, and the majority of the people with an unacceptable living condition, and I think they have the rights to grow, to have prosperity and a minimum of prosperity. So if we take that into consideration, energy is a real challenge, and I think that we cannot overcome this challenge if we think in that way we have done before, that we look only to our main national interests. And I think it's very important that we look for a balance between national interests. We have those interests, of course, but we have to look for the global issues and the European and global issues. And so I think I speak for all my colleagues in the steering group, and I hope that I do that we have to open our national programs. We have to open for an increased European and even international cooperation. And I think we have, especially in Germany, we have these two reasons, or two main reasons for doing that. First reason is the complexity and the cost. It has already mentioned that we have problems to organize demonstration projects because they are very costly, and the complexity of research is increasing, steadily increasing. So we have to open it. We have to look for cooperation. We have to share our money to invest in this very costly, first of its kind demonstration. And the other issue, it's more or less the same importance. Most of the companies who are involved in energy technologies, they are either very export-oriented, or they are internationally acting. And I think the national programs in research and development have to adjust to this development.
Thank you very much. Bob, would you like to go next? And if you can, please mention what's worked well up to now and what needs improving.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for changing the question at the last minute. I want to agree with Georg that this is a very well-organized conference, and to give my personal congratulations to the organizers. This conference is twice as big as the previous SET Plan conference in Dublin last year, twice as big. And I think it's an example of what has worked well. We now have more people who know about the SET Plan. The awareness has risen significantly in the past 12 months. We have more people involved in projects within the SET Plan. What has worked well has been the two parallel pillars of the SET Plan. The European Energy Research Alliance, which has become a very effective vehicle for getting joint research projects done, or maybe I should say coordinated research projects done, and the European Industrial Initiatives. What has not worked so well so far, and where the attention is coming now, is in integrating these things and having more communication and more cooperation between the EERA and the industrial initiatives. And that is the focus of what is coming in the integrated roadmap. In Dublin at the SET Plan Conference last year, the Commission published a communication on energy technologies and innovation, and that set the high-level strategy for how we should make European energy research work to meet the energy, climate and energy goals. It set the high-level parameters. It looked towards the basis for actions which might follow. We're at the second phase, just starting now, to put some flesh on the bones. So what's worked well is that we have had a series of well-coordinated research projects, and we have involved industry. We haven't put them together yet. That's still to come.
Okay, perfect. Gunta, what's been the experience of Latvia in terms of investing in new energy technologies under the SET Plan, and how do you weigh the benefits and the things that need to improve? Don't be shy.
First of all, thank you very much for invitation to be here as a representative of SET Plan Steering Group member from Latvia. I fully agree with my colleagues from Germany and Ireland that it's very important to be together, to work together, to put our facilities and our forces, our capacity together. And cooperation, to my mind, is the main idea what we can to do the best in Europe. So far, the main mechanisms of implementation of the SET Plan have been European industrial initiatives and European Energy Research Alliance institutions. And I think that for such country as Latvia, we are not very big. We have to share our resources and be together to get more experience, change of possibility, and work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mairie, I'd like to now turn to you and ask if you could talk about what's changed. Why do we need an integrated roadmap? And tell us also about the 4 big challenges, please.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. Our earlier speakers this morning talked about the need for an integrated approach to the energy system, shall we say, at a political level. Collaboration, cooperation across member states, between the member states and the Commission, in order that Europe has a stronger energy system that is of benefit both to citizens and the economy. In a somewhat technical and operational sense, what does that actually mean? It means that our energy system has to become much more robust. And one of the reasons why we need to change is because our energy system is changing and we need to respond to that. And in a way, it's changing because of our success. When we started the SET Plan back in 2008, it was built on pillars, technology pillars. One might even say silos. We had one for wind, and one for solar, and one for geothermal, etc. And at the time, that was exactly the right structure, because these were technologies that weren't fully mature, that needed to be nurtured, and we needed to have a pivotal discussion within the pillars in order to develop the technology. That has been a success. We have developed the technologies, and with the combination of the market mechanisms, the targets, the support mechanisms, and other market mechanisms, we have managed to bring those technologies into the marketplace and into our system. And now we have to face the consequences of our success. And the consequences are, of course, that we find ourselves with a growing share of renewables, some of which are variable energy, in our energy system. And it is requiring a change in the energy system in order to be able to adapt and benefit from this new entrant. But it's not just renewables, it's other new technologies, what we call smart. Smart grids, smart meters, smart home, hopefully smart people, smart consumers. So there is, shall we say, a whole evolution of technology that is taking place and that allows us to transition our energy system into a new energy system. And that's why we wanted to keep the frame of SET Plan, because there are some very positive elements to it, but move the content away from technology silos into more of a market approach. And the market approach starts in a very simple way. It puts the consumer at the centre of the energy system. That's our first priority, to think like consumers. What do consumers need and what can we deliver for them? The second part is to address the whole issues of our energy consumption from the demand point of view. How can we make our demand more efficient? In a global sense, how can we reduce the demand but also make it more efficient, for example, using demand response? Thirdly, looking at how do we supply the system? We have a range of options in terms of fuels, in terms of technologies. How do they fit together? How do they relate to each other in order to deliver the most cost-effective energy into our system? And perhaps the most complicated element then is the interoperability of all of these elements. How do we bring them together in a holistic system? How do we think about the electricity grid, with or not the gas grid, with or not district heating and the thermal grid? How do we link transport, mobility with heating, with power? So it's an entire system, and how do we make it efficient? How do we make it work? And of course, underpinning all of that, we have to be aware that the energy system is about people and for people, so we have to be aware and sensitive to the socioeconomic impact of the developments that we have, and also keep our eyes and ears open to the international scene, both being open to what's happening elsewhere and also delivering our results to the international stage. So out of this has come, shall we say, the reorientation of the SET Plan, the restructuring of the content of the SET Plan into the new integrated approach, which you'll find, of course, in the booklet that we've made available as part of this conference.
Oh, thank you very much for that excellent overview.